Welcome to Living Life on the Max with Keisha B. Spivey, a weekly podcast that will challenge you and encourage you to live your best life yet. Hello there, and thank you for tuning in to Living Life on the Max. This is the last segment of the Dream Killer series, and we have talked about some stuff, y'all. We have dealt with some issues. We've all gotten a little bit uncomfortable, but we all know that the only thing that grows in your comfort zone is regret. And so this last literal dream killer is one that we all need to be sensitive of, and it is your associations. Your associations. Who are you hanging out with? Who are you allowing to influence your world? Who are you allowing to speak into your life? Who are you spending your time with? The reality is this: you will only ever be as great as the people you surround yourself with. So be brave enough to let go of those who keep bringing you down. You know, your happiness and your self-worth cannot be entirely dependent on other people. But the truth is, personal relationships do have an influence on how you feel about yourself, how you see your future, how you deal with and handle your dreams. It impacts every part of you. And so as we're closing out today, I want to challenge you to evaluate your associations, evaluate your relationships. You know, be honest with yourself. Are there people in your life that discourage you instead of encourage you? They don't support who you are. They don't respect your differences. Their default is negativity. They make you feel small. And I'm not saying that you're responsible for what other people do, but you are responsible for how you respond to what you allow them to do to you. You have to be the keeper of your own soul. You have to be the watch and guard for your own mouth and your own mind. And so there's a whole lot of things about our lives that we don't necessarily get to control, but you do get to control who you build relationships with, who you do life with. You know, your coworker, you may not be able to do anything about that, but you got to show up. You have a job to do. You do your job and you go home. But the people that you allow into your secret spaces, the people that you confide in, the people who knows your areas of vulnerability, they need to be people who build you up. They need to be people who understand that you have a dream. They need to be people who are not intimidated by who God has called you to be and what He's called you to do. They need to be people that aren't jealous, that aren't comparing, who understands that they got to do them and you got to do you. You need to check the associations that are in your life, because I noticed one time that I wasn't spending enough time with people who fed me or people who, added life to me. In the line of work that I'm in, I'm coaching, I'm counseling, I'm mentoring, I'm ministering. I'm always around people who pull. And there's nothing wrong with that. That's what I do. That's what I was born to do. But you can't have a whole lot of that going on one side of your life and not have other people who add to you, who make you feel good when you are hanging out with them, that challenge you to come up, that make you realize, wait a minute, I got to do better. That make you realize I can't settle for this. I can't make excuses. I'm talking about people who call you out on your crap and y'all can go and get a cup of coffee afterwards. You're not mad and angry because they checked you, but you appreciate them not allowing you to wreck you. If you're not surrounded by the right people, then it will influence how you move forward in your life. You know, when I was a youth pastor, I used to teach that you could look at your 5 closest friends, the people that you spend the most time with, and you average them all together, and you sit right there in the middle. I know sometimes people think that I'm not being influenced and who I hang out with doesn't matter, but it does. And so today, as we're talking about dream killers, part of it is negativity. Part of it is the associations and the people that you hang with. But part of it is you come into the understanding that you can't give everybody so much power in your life. You can't give negative people power in your life. You can't give things that literally will steal and kill and destroy your dream power. So a couple points I want to give you as we're closing out to just help you realize and to evaluate and to take personal responsibility for what you're doing to help you get on track. We all drift from time to time. The key is don't stay there. Get back on track. The first thing is acknowledge your time limitations. You only get 24 hours in a day, 168 hours in the week. Your dream is at stake. So you have to limit the time you spend with people who deplete you. If you don't spend enough time with people who feel you, then you're going to burn out. You're not going to have what you need to pursue your dreams. So you then have allowed your associations and your relationships to literally default you, to help you detour. They've gotten you off track. You cannot allow it to have that much power. You need to be attentive. I call these kind of like the ABCs. The B is you got to be attentive. You need to focus your thoughts. You cannot keep your mind focused on where you're going if all the people you spend time with are focused on where they've been. That right there is good. I'm going to say it again. You cannot keep your mind focused on where you are going if all the people you spend time with are focused on where they've been. See, dreamers and visionaries are looking forward. Negative people and people who don't have a dream, people who are content where they are, and I'm not mad at them, but people who are good and don't want any more, they're always looking back to when I did this and when I was there and when I had this. They're not looking forward. And if you are a dreamer, you need to hang around people who are looking in the direction that you're going. It's toward destiny, toward purpose, toward dream and goal fulfillment. See, you need to choose your attitude and you need to behave accordingly. Be mindful of the people around you and how they affect you. I often tell people when you walk into a room and you are with people that are negative or you are with people that are requiring more of you, be a thermostat, not a thermometer. A thermometer reflects what's happening in the room, the atmosphere, but a thermostat sets it. So if you're a dreamer and you happen to be dealing with people or working with people or in a situation where they're not dreaming, you set the thermostat. You put the temperature. You put it where you want it to be. You choose how cool and how hot, and you keep moving forward. So you choose your attitude and you behave accordingly. Don't allow the influences of other people around you to bring you down. D, develop a few positive relationships. And this is something that you have to be intentional about. And I'm going to have a moment of transparency. This is something that was hard for me. Being in ministry and running a couple of businesses, it is very easy for people to try to take advantage of what you do or for people to speak ill of your good, for them to not understand why you do what you do. And if they're not close enough to you to know how you think and what moves you, then they have all kinds of opinions. And so many times I've been hurt, betrayed by people who didn't do what they said they were going to do or chose to think and actually present me differently than what the situation really should be. And so it was hard for me to develop close relationships because I was kind of waiting for the anvil to drop. I was waiting for them to lie. I was waiting for them to cheat or steal. I was waiting for them to not be who they said they were going to be. I was kind of waiting to be hurt because that had been the track record. But recently, probably just a couple of years ago, I realized I was missing out on one of the greatest joys in life by not having close enough people that I could bring close to me, that I could be naked and not afraid with, I could be vulnerable with, I can be transparent with, and know that it was a judge-free zone. Now, they might check me and they might call me out on my stuff, but I knew I was safe with them. I needed a refuge. And what I realized is having a few places where there are people that you love and they love you, that have your best interest in mind. And even if you disagree, you can just disagree and still be in love. You don't have to have the same opinions about everything. You don't have to like the same things, but you enjoy each other's company and they make you better. I have a couple of friends that I'm safe with. I needed that in my life because out here doing life alone and trying to pursue dreams and trying to be who God has called you to be and the best version of yourself without support, it's hard. So I had to choose to become intentional about the people I would trust and the people that I would let into my space and people that I would believe that would let me into their space. And it's added such a joy to my life. So develop positive relationships, and that takes time. It means you got to be willing to invest in some people. And you got to let people invest in you. Those mutually beneficial relationships will help you stay on track toward your dream. But those negative, depleting relationships, if they're not kept in check, they will kill your dream. And lastly is E. You need to embrace the fact that sometimes people can infect you before you affect them. They're people that are sent. Everybody in your life has been sent by somebody. Either they've been dispatched by God and they are part of purpose and destiny, or they've been sent by the enemy of your soul, sent to distract you. And those people will infect you if you're not aware of it. So be mindful that there's some infectious people out there with negativity, with fear, and with doubt, and all these other things that they want to transfer onto you. But only you can stop that. Only you can choose whether or not that's going to be a part of your life. So, yeah, for 7 weeks now, we've walked through dream killers. Because one of the saddest things that I deal with as a life coach is sitting across from people who have all of this potential, these amazing ideas, these big dreams and these big goals. Year after year, though, they want to sit on it because they're not willing to do what's required to move forward. They've allowed life, disappointments and frustrations, and they've allowed fear and lack of creativity and lack of imagination. They've allowed all these things over the years to chip away at it. And a little bit at a time, a little bit more dies off. And a little bit more dies off. And then you find yourself sitting on a rocking chair in your life and you've literally rocked that thing to sleep. Or you've buried that thing. And now you're wondering, why am I not fulfilled? Why am I so unhappy? Why am I not satisfied? Why am I not content? And it's because you've taken those things that God put on the inside of you, that He wired you with before you showed up in the earth. And you've been selfish with them. When we allow these dream killers to win, that means we've become selfish. We're no longer stewarding what God has entrusted to our care. We've now allowed the world to have more power and to have a greater voice and to capture our attention, to literally distract us for destruction, while our dream has died over in a corner. My prayer is that that is not you. You know, the older I get, the more birthdays that I have, the more I realize I have to keep dreaming. I have to daily deal with everything sent to kill that dream, to steal that dream and destroy that dream. It's my job to shepherd that dream, and it's my job to be found faithful. And I cannot do that if I spend more time focusing and giving attention to dream killers than I am to making this dream come to pass through the power of God and through the hope I have in Jesus. That's available to every single one of us who are born again and who've made Him Lord and Savior. So I'm closing out this series and I'm talking about a dream. But here's what you got to know. The dreams that you have, you didn't give them to yourself. As a daughter or son of God, He deposited them on the inside of you. And now I want to challenge you to cultivate that relationship so He can tell you and teach you how to take it from having a dream in a seed form to dream in harvest form. That's available to you. All you have to do is ask. So I've enjoyed this series. I hope it's encouraged you. Share it with a friend. If you know someone struggling with this, pass it along. Hit subscribe on this station so that we can stay connected. And until we chat again, do you to the max. God bless.